Good morning students. Today we will start with our new chapter metals and non-metals. Now there are 118 elements on our earth, out of which 92 elements occur naturally, that is they are found naturally in our surroundings, and the rest are prepared in the laboratory. All elements are classified into metals, non-metals and metalloids. What are metals? Metals are those elements that are characterized by luster, that is they are shiny, they can conduct heat, they are sonorous, that is they make sound on heating, and they conduct, they are hard. And what are non-metals? Non-metals are elements that do not have any luster, that are bad conductors of electricity or heat, those are brittle. And metalloids are those elements that have some properties of metals and some of non-metals. Okay, now metals occur in free state, for example gold, silver, platinum, while some metals also occur in combined state, that is sodium, calcium, potassium, lead, copper. What is combined state? Combined state means these metals like sodium, calcium, they are found in our earth as carbonates or as chlorides, that is they are found in the form of salts. But gold, it is found raw in our environment. Okay, now physical properties of metals and non-metals, or physical state. We will read what are physical properties. Physical properties are the properties of metals or non-metals that we can identify which is a metal or non-metal without making any reactions with the metal or the non-metal. Without any chemical reaction, the properties which helps us to identify the element whether it is a metal or non-metal is known as physical properties. Now physical state, metals are solid at room temperature. Okay, so except mercury and gallium, none of the metals exist in gaseous state, whereas non-metals generally occur as solids or gaseous. Okay, now malleability. Metals can withstand hammering and can be drawn into sheets. So metals are malleable, but non-metals are brittle. They cannot be drawn into sheets. Next is ductility. Metals are drawn into wires, but non-metals cannot be drawn into wire. Therefore, metals are used for electrical wirings. Next, it is luster. The property due to which metals appear shiny is known as luster. Most metals are lustrous in nature. This property makes the metals good reflectors of light. Non-metals do not have luster, hence they do not appear shiny. Next is thermal conductivity. Metals are good conductors of heat. Silver and copper are the two metals that are considered as the best conductors of heat. Lead is the poorest conductor of heat. Bismuth, mercury and iron are also poor conductors. Non-metals are poor conductors of heat. However, diamond, a non-metal, is a good conductor. Means metals are basically good conductors, but there are some exceptions. Like that, non-metals are basically poor conductors of heat and electricity, but there are some exceptions like diamond. Diamond is a good conductor of heat and electricity. Hardness. Metals usually being solid in nature are hard. For example, iron is very hard. So, iron is used in the construction of railways, tracks, machines, bridges. Okay. So, whereas non-metals are soft. But in metals there are some exception also, like that sodium. Sodium is a metal which is soft. It is as soft as it can be cut with a knife. And non-metals are like all the non-metals are soft except diamond. Diamond is very much hard. Diamond is a non-metal which is considered to be the hardest element on earth. Now tensile strength. Tensile strength of a material is the maximum amount of stress or strain a material can take without breaking. Okay, so what is tensile strength? Tensile strength is the amount of pressure or amount of strain the element can tolerate. Metals usually have very high tensile strength, whereas non-metals have very low tensile strength. Now density. Metals are usually heavy and have very high density. Iridium, osmium have the highest densities, whereas lithium, sodium and potassium have low density, that is they float in on water. So the elements, those who have low density, they float on water, and those who have high density, they sink on water. Now non-metals have very low densities except diamond. Non-metals have very low densities. Only diamond has high density. Okay. Now conductivity of electricity. Silver, which is a good conductor of heat, is the best conductor of electricity. Similarly, copper and aluminium are good conductors of electricity and thus used in electrical wiring of houses and other buildings. Silver, being cost heavy, is not used in electrical wires. Though silvers are best conductors of electricity, they are not used in electrical wires because they are expensive. Whereas copper is used because it is more cheaper. Okay. Non-metals are poor or bad conductors of electricity. For example, sulfur and phosphorus. However, graphite is the only non-metal that acts as a good conductor of electricity. Now sonority. Sonority is the property of a metal to produce a deep resonating sound when struck within an object. So metals are sonorous in nature. That is why all the musical instrument bells are made up of metals. Okay. Now melting and boiling point. The melting and boiling point of both metals and non-metals vary widely. Metals tend to have high melting point and high boiling point. Metals, which are physically flexible elements that can conduct heat and electricity, tend to be solid at room temperature due to their relatively high melting points. Non-metals, which are physically weak and poor conductors of heat and electricity, can be solid, liquid or gaseous depending on the element. For example, tungsten is a metal, has a melting point of 3370 degrees Celsius, whereas the melting point of hydrogen, a non-metal, is minus 259.14 degrees Celsius. Okay. Now differences between metals and non-metals, it is given in your book. Read it. Today up to this month. Next day we will continue with the physical properties of non-metals and non-metals. Okay. Thank you. Chemical properties of metals and non-metals. We have done with the physical properties. Next day we will do the chemical properties. Thank you.